Alright, so I'm back. Now I've done the outline. I'm starting the long and short stitches. So here, let me get this out of the way. I have started all the way up against this edge with a long stitch. I've gone about 3/4 of the length of, or the width of this letter. Then your next one's gonna be short, then long, then short. And you're going to go all the way across that way, trying to keep the long and short stitches about the same all the way across. Then once you have gone all the way across, you're going to want to start from this edge and fill in with those long and short. So obviously where there's a short stitch, you're going to now have a long stitch fitting into that like brickwork. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean here. So this first stitch I did, that was a long stitch. Now I'm going to come in over here, all the way on the edge. We're just going to make a real short stitch to finish out that length. I'm going to go in the hole that that other stitch went through, so that they are just right up against each other. Alright, so then we had a short stitch over here. So Lila, quiet. So you're going to start all the way up against that stitch. Let's see if I can. Okay. Go all the way up against that short stitch. And it's going to be just like brickwork. Then we got a long stitch. So now we're going to do a short stitch on this side. And then we had a short stitch. So now we're going to meet up with it with a long stitch. Okay. All the way over here. And now you see how this is becoming nice and even. It's hard for this camera to focus on it. But these all interlock like brickwork. Okay? So we got long, short, long, short, long, short, short, long, short, long, short, long. Okay? So it's all kind of working together. You'll do it all the way across. But right here, it's going to be a straight edge. So when you carry it over here, instead of doing a straight edge to carry it over, you're going to start doing the long and short here, so that when you come in from this line, you're you know, going to have them interlocking here instead of a straight line, because it's going to be real noticeable. And I will show you what I mean, because I did it on this one and it drove me crazy, but I learned to try to get over it. Let's see, where did I do it? Okay, on the R. So you see that line? So when I was carrying this line over, I ended up going straight, and I was just interlocking them in up here. Wasn't really thinking about making them long and short on this side, so that when I came up, it would seamlessly interlock. So now I've got that line, and that's frustrating. But to somebody who isn't really looking for it, you're not going to notice it. So I think that's all I needed to tell you guys. So you just do your back stitching here. If anybody needs further explanation on back stitching, it's real easy. There's also a ton of other YouTube videos out there for back stitching. Another good outline stitch is a split stitch. You can look those up on YouTube as well. But these long and short stitches, or brick stitch, it took me a lot of digging. For some reason, it doesn't seem like a lot of people use it as a filler, but I mean, to me, that's offensive, because the satin stitch especially if you're using a thick yarn, it gives it that kind of textured sweater appeal. And the satin stitch does not work with thick yarns because it looks bulky. If you've made any mistakes or if it's not perfectly straight across, you're going to see those threads that were tilted and it will drive you nuts. This is very forgiving. This stitch is very forgiving. So if you go back and you finish it and you see that there's like a little gap here or there, you just go through and make another stitch and fill up that gap. It's a very forgiving stitch and it gives great coverage. Even when you use a thinner traditional embroidery floss, I do like the long and short stitch. But man, with this yarn, it's a cotton wool blend, and it's nice and thick, but not too thick. You can still, easily manage it with an embroidery needle and everything. This fabric is linen. Linen's my favorite fabric to embroider on. It's nice and sturdy and thick. Cotton, I feel like I'm always worried about it ripping when I'm pulling through. So I suggest linen. It's not that expensive. You can get, a few yards of it on Amazon for like $15, which, it's a little pricey, but when you're making, let's see, when you're usually making embroidery that's this size, you get a bolt of 3 yards and it will last you forever. Like, you will be embroidering for months on that. So, anyways, those are my recommendations. Once again, the water erasable marker, that's awesome. Your pattern, trace it on your fabric, and then your outline stitch and your brick stitch. So it's pretty simple. So if anybody needs further help, you get stuck with something, just please send me a message. Let me know that you were from the group if I don't recognize your name, and I'll be happy to help you. All right, see you guys.